Kevin, we were just talking about sports. I was giving you an update on the Seattle Mariners baseball team.
And the Athletics going to Vegas.
And the Athletics going to Vegas, and all kinds of situations going on. But you know what that reminds me of? The fact that Bet Online, that's right, Kevin, is our number one source, and yours, for all the sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right all the way up to the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Watching a little bit of the Euro. Are you watching the Euros?
I haven't.
The European countries?
Had control or time for the TV in a while.
Well, the kids went to camp this week, so I've been able to, now it's like, I can turn it on and listen. It's like, usually I can turn it on and listen. Either way.
Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the game is being played with Bet Online.
That's right. When the game's over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of the over 150 slots games. I mean, you can't get bored with those.
No?
There's 150.
Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit of up to $250.
That's right. We appreciate you, Bet Online. The game starts here.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the Dumb Dad Podcast. My name is Kevin, and I'm a dumb dad.
Hey, everybody. My name is Evan, and I'm a dumb dad. And on today's episode, during Kevin's dumb dad moment, he reveals what a mistake it was to chase hot desert cheese.
Okay. And
you get it.
yeah. And on this podcast, Evan and his wife ice the kicker.
Ooh.
Before we get started, we want to let you know we're going on tour.
Oh, man. If you haven't heard it by now, then we are telling you for
the
the first time, and you should come see us.
We are going on tour. We're going to Chicago on August 5th, St. Louis on August 6th, and Nashville on August 7th. We're going to City Winery. There is a link in our show notes or in our bio of any of our social media. Please come out to the show. We're so excited. This is our first time on tour. It's not going to be the last.
No. And I will say this. And I will say this. Don't bring a friend.
What?
Bring 5 friends.
Bring 5 friends.
Bring your church group. Bring your men's foursome that you play with every Saturday.
But when I say this won't be the last, I don't know when we're coming back to these cities. So
there's really no
when
way
I say there'll be others, there'll be other cities. But we don't know if we're coming back to Chicago, St. Louis, and Nashville. So this is your chance. You got to come out and make it. So check it out. Cheers.
Cheers, dummy. Ready to get into it?
Ready to get into it during this countrywide heat wave that we're having here.
Man, yeah.
It's nationwide.
Texas is in trouble down there with, what is it, tornadoes and hurricanes, something like that. It's flooding. They have flooding going on down there.
So which is it, tornadoes or flooding?
Well,
you're not allowed to have both.
It all means your basement's wet.
Okay.
Thoughts out to you, Texas. Yeah, it's hot everywhere. I mean, it's really funny, and it's all relative. I get it. You know, I call my mom. She's like, it's so hot here. It was like 89 today. But when you're not used to 89,
hang up immediately?
Yeah, I was like, you're not my mom. When it's never 89. 89 is really hot.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
Your parents would probably snap our hands off for 107 over there in Palm Desert, right? You know, so it's all relative. I get it. 107 here, 105 here during the weekend, and it's been like a steady 99 every day since.
Yeah, sure has.
Which has made me appreciate that much more that camp has begun. In my house.
Are you in your first week?
Camp has begun. In our first week. Yeah. Of just getting the kids somewhere else other than our hot, sweaty house. That's the thing. Is like I just felt the most parent guilt in the middle of the day when it was like 100 degrees outside. They don't want to go outside.
Why do you feel parent guilt?
Because they come inside and
do the things they want to do?
I don't know. Just like I really struggle with screen time emotionally. Like me personally, emotionally struggle with because it's such a hot button topic of conversation amongst parents these days.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a kid, there was plenty of days where I played video games for a very long time. Or watched a whole bunch of TV shows in the morning, watching cartoons or whatever.
Yeah.
And we turned out hella cool.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You should be worried about them.
You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no, don't feel like there's major flaws now. However, so much of our existence now is based on like the phone in your pocket and getting information, reliable information on screens.
Sure.
And then on top of that, the sauce, the dumb dad sauce, which is that we exist on our phones, filming content with our phones, editing on the computer or editing on the phone, doing captions on the phone. And so there is a lot of looking at the phone in front of the kids. That's the one thing I worry about a lot. Is when it's like, it seems unfair for me to say, like, you watch enough shows, you got to get off your screen for a while I sit there and look at my phone. But it's not like I'm working.
Correct.
I'm responding to emails. I'm talking to you. I'm
Yes.
Editing, whatever it is. So I feel that a lot of the time. That's where some of the guilt stems from. They're looking at me as like I'm a hypocrite. And, I wish
Have they said anything?
Yeah, my son has.
He's like, why do you get to be on your phone?
It's like, why do you get to live in a house? Because I just paid for some of it with my little phone activity.
Yeah.
Which seems like an unfair way to say that.
It's a bit of an overreaction.
I didn't say that. But you know what I mean? That's just kind of where it all stems from sometimes. And so, yes, I was encouraging them to come out. Like, I would have my coffee in the morning because it wasn't 100 degrees at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I'd have my coffee out there and have the kids come out and draw with chalk or, practice hitting the ball off the tee into the net for a while until they were like, it's kind of getting warm. We're a little bit bored, whatever. I would take like an hour if I got it, which I was getting, but then we'd go inside and then it's like, okay, we're even doing like summer workbooks that the schools, like the school district gave the kids like little summer workbooks.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, we have those.
all it takes is they're really not too bad. It's like if you do like 2 pages a day and at their level is like, that's like 20, like not even 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. They do have reading schedules. We like to try to keep them on and stuff because it's like we just want to fill the day with stuff other than watching something. Mm-hmm. But even then, when they do all that stuff and they still spend like, whatever couple hours a day watching a few things they like and playing a video game, it's like, could I be doing better than this? But also like I need to get work done. So, if they're not doing that, they're very active in the house, loud during my wife's conference calls or whatever. So sometimes you just need to be like, can you just go over there and do that and be quiet and watch this,
Do you really have, like, I believe you have the guilt of it. You have the guilt, even if you are keeping them to their being outside in the morning, being on a reading schedule, doing their school workbooks.
Yes.
I mean, it is like one of those things, like your wife doesn't have that guilt. She's on a computer all day. She works from home.
Yes. No, I know. I do still carry it with me. And I think it's unfair. I'm being unfair that I do that, but I can't help but think about it because it's like, again, I said, it's like such a huge topic amongst parenting everywhere.
What's your
that it's like maybe it's almost like I'm just
what's your fear
I'm constantly thinking about it. I think constantly think about it.
Genuinely asking, what's your fear of it?
That they will like rely on one kind of source of a thing for entertainment. They lose the ability to create or imagine because they'd rather just watch somebody else do that.
Sure.
That they become lazy and just think, I would rather just do this, and I have no inhibitions to like work hard for anything that I want. Like, and that's the fear. That's that's not what I think is going to happen in the next year. But that's the kind of stuff I think about.
2 years.
Yeah, we're just
year and a half. No.
Year and a half, 18 months at the very
1.5.
most. But that's the kind of stuff I think about. It's just like, and I know I'm being unfair to myself. I know it's like I need to relax and think like it's okay for them to be like, they did fill some of their time. That I'm trying to equate it, and it's maybe one of those dumb things like you're like counterbalancing my experience as a kid. Like, but if I lean harder into them going against it, and they're better off for it. But everything in the whole world is based on technology and a screen and learning how to use an iPad or a computer or something, navigate your way through technology. Mm-hmm. It's only going to get so much more complicated and confusing. I mean, think about this. We didn't even have the internet in high school, and think about what we have now. We have the internet in our pocket, right?
I had internet in high school.
I mean, I did too, but I not in the way that we have it now.
Tablets.
I guess. We had internet. It was like,
no, I know.
America
it was
Online
trash.
95. I was a freshman.
Yeah, it was
chat
chat rooms. It was chat rooms.
Can you imagine? It's like doing this. What's the equivalent to this now? Like, as a parent, probably I'm going to check my email before I go to work. So I'm going to go turn on the internet, take a shower, make a cup of coffee, get ready for it, come back. I might be on then.
Nobody make a phone call.
Yeah, nobody make a phone call.
We had dial-up.
Right.
Anybody doesn't understand any of this, any 20-year-old dumb dad podcast listeners, just look it up.
And every year technology is advanced quicker and quicker and quicker. But to say that I could take the computer out of my pocket-sized computer out of my pocket and check my email in 10 seconds and then get back to what I'm doing.
I'd be frustrated when it doesn't refresh quickly.
Oh, yeah.
We're the worst. We're all guilty of it.
I know, but that's what I'm thinking. But that's part of how life is going to be forever moving forward. And so
I guess that's my point. I'm not even playing devil's advocate. I'm trying to be, because I know you and your wife and how you guys parent. You're here all the time. Mm-hmm. I go to your house a lot, and I see how you parent your kids. I know you're not. I'm not going to say all the time, because every once in a while our kids are going to watch just like some kind of garbage on like YouTube Kids or whatever. Yeah. That's definitely going to happen. But for the most part, I feel like you're responsible with what they're watching, which is, I think, a important part of it. I think, because like my kids, for instance, for a while were watching garbage on YouTube Kids, and
they find their way to it, like kids unwrapping gifts.
I also think it's the algorithm.
With
it's the algorithm. Yeah. It's like, hey, this is the most watched thing, and it's like some 6-year-old boy just unwrapping things, which is weird.
It's like we can stay within our little slot here because it's so. It's like we could go on another tangent.
We could go on another tangent, but let's just stay on that. And then my wife and I personally just don't like.
Go follow Mom Uncharted.
Yeah,
go follow Mom Uncharted. That's that tangent.
We don't like watching kids unboxing videos. I also don't like, there's so much scripted television out there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying this because I'm an actor. I genuinely mean it. There's scripted television out there. If your kids want to watch a show, you can find them some good shows on Disney Channel or something, Netflix.
Yeah.
But when people are making like really mediocre, like they're just making it for views. They're not making like, this is a passion project. They were watching shows like that. We took YouTube Kids off of like all devices for a while, like off of everything.
Yeah, same. We just deleted it.
And we got it. We recently, not recently, but we did reinstall all of it. But it was a good little. It was almost like the kids were grounded. You guys aren't in trouble. We just don't like the direction this is going in, so we deleted it. Telling you all that because now they're very responsible with it. They're very honest about what they're watching. They'll be like, sometimes they'll, tattle on each other, which I appreciate because like nobody's in trouble. I really understand how these algorithms work. I've seen how I behave on TikTok. What am I watching?
Yeah.
Why am I watching this guy take an old hammer and bring it back to new? There's a 3-minute
Turn
video.
It into a watch.
Yeah.
Like 3-minute video. Why did I watch?
I know.
Why did I
like,
watch that?
So when one of my kids is like, hey, so-and-so's watching this, I'm like, you don't need to rat on them. Anyway, I'm going to block this channel. And
that was little side thing. That was why we eventually deleted it. We were so on top of like watching my daughter. She was when it was getting into some of that stuff, like watching little girls play with stuff and maybe do weird like makeup stuff or whatever. It's just like, you're not even watching anything other than a parent's lazily edited video of like their kid doing like playing in their room. Like, who cares? That's not giving you anything. What is the name of that channel? Great. She puts her iPad down, she goes and plays, we open up, block it. But that those creators, they find new ways to like rename their channel so it's like it still will find their way to you.
Sure, and it will. But I will say, like, now my kids watch pretty good stuff. Not to say that they won't. I'm not going to pretend my kids are going to be perfect little children all the time. They're going to watch some garbage, but I just mean they're on top of it. And now, like, my son is watching just, like, dinosaur videos, dance videos. That's what they're currently into. Yeah. I'm sure next week I'll have all the complaints about the garbage they watch. But right now it's going okay. Yeah. And my daughter, she loves watching, like, manga, drawing, so that she can get better at it. So that was my point. Of like, you're worried about your son and your daughter kind of losing. It is the future. And I think we all have to like accept it and understand how to moderate it, which is, I think, what you're doing. So I'm just saying, you're doing fine.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Welcome to the Dumb Dad Podcast. If you're a first-time listener, this is where two morons pretend to talk about something they know nothing about, where they should have just had an expert on in the first place.
Nobody knows anything about the internet.
I heard a fact about the internet like 5 years ago that, sometimes a fact will come across your page or something like that. Or it's like, here's how big the earth is compared to like this. And you're like, oh, I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was like a podcast interview with somebody from Google who said, Google really what their job is to index the internet. And that therefore then you can use them as a search engine to find things on the internet because they have indexed it, right?
Yeah.
And this is like 5 years ago. Google had been around for like whatever, I don't even know, 15 years or at that point, however long enough time. And he said, at this point in our company, we have indexed roughly, we think 1% of basically not even a percent of the internet. It was like 0.1% of 1% of the internet. This is how much they had like gone through so far. It was like, oh man.
Okay. So hashtags are important,
Which means this is we could have so many more views on our videos.
That's what we're gonna say.
That's what we're trying to get to.
They haven't indexed us yet. They haven't gotten a D.
Yeah. They're not even an AAB. They're not even there yet.
Haven't figured it out yet.
Anyway, that was just my little rant. That's where we go. That's where we're going. It's just kind of.
But now they're in camp, and
but now they're in
you
camp.
are offloaded some of it.
Offloaded some of it, and I love picking him up and hearing about like this kid was mean. He said this, but I told her that's okay. So my two kids are like in the same group. I think it's just awesome. They're both on like the very ends of the scale of like the group that they're in, but they get to be in the same group all day long. And so he would say, oh, she did this annoyed me, this person said something that was kind of mean, the counselor stepped in, we got to do this today, we made paper airplanes and ran outside and threw them as far as we could, and all that kind of stuff, which was like, that's the kind of stuff that is great. And then here's where the parenting guilt comes back in. You're like, I could have thought of that. Why didn't I think of paper airplanes? They're just good at they're good at knowing you get 5 minutes with something. They got 7 hours, 5 minutes at a time, stuff that they're planning on doing with kids.
It's a little bit easier when it's their job.
Isn't it your job?
It's your job, but you also have a job.
That's true.
They're not teaching kids paper airplanes while also being tryhards on TikTok.
Yeah. Editing my own dumb face. In which take I want to use to make my voice sound as least nasally as possible.
Yeah. I think we should leave it there before it gets worse and move on to the dumb dad moments.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's move on to the dumb dad moments.
We kind of teased at it. My dumb dad moment today is brought to you by heat waves.
Heat waves.
I visited, as you said earlier, my parents in Indio, which
by yourself. Yep. Wife and kids left them here.
Half hour. Yep, left the kids here. Went by myself.
I'm gonna go hang out in there.
No. I brought the whole family and went to my parents in Indio, which is just outside of Palm Springs, about a half hour. They're about a half hour away, and it's important to note that for a little bit, which is right next to Palm Desert. It's all going to be relevant in a second.
Okay.
So we went there for the 4th.
Make your mental maps, everyone.
Which was wild. I thought it was going to be a dumb dad moment driving there because I told my wife, let's keep an eye on the GPS, and if it's good Wednesday night, the night before 4th of July, we'll go. Otherwise, we'll go first thing in the morning. But I'm guessing the night before is going to be awful.
Yeah. You think you'd have the same thought as everybody else.
I thought I was thinking what everyone was thinking. And the GPS kept being like, you're good. The day before, the day of, all day. Mm-hmm. And then right before we left, I searched it and it was like, you're good.
Check one more time.
Okay. Went on the road, only gained an hour, which is honestly, it's been worse.
You'll take it.
It was 3.5. I've done 5.5. It's fine. So anyway, we went there.
You always compare it to the 5.5 too. You know what I mean? Like, could be 4 hours and 45 minutes.
Because it was 5.5.
5.5.
The time that it was 5.5 hours, where it could be, it's been two flat.
That's infuriating.
I've done it 2 flat, and
that's just hard to take that.
The time that I drove there and it took 5.5, it took 5 home, which is just like, that's not. No, that's not how it works. You give me a nice one way. You at least give me one nice one.
You can't ever have 4 hours total. What a weekend.
Can never have 4 hours total. It can't be 2 and 2.
Yeah.
So we went there, and then the next day, 4th of July, it was something else weather-wise. So the kids swam in the pool all day. We made do. The pool.
They swim in the outdoor.
Luckily, it was it wasn't an out of nowhere heat wave, but it was a heat wave that at night it cooled off enough that the pool wasn't bath water. which just makes it worse.
Yeah.
But it was actually like, oh, swimming pool is fun. So then the next day,
What was the temperature of the water?
The hottest that we recorded, it was like 97.
Dude.
That was the hottest we recorded it. So it was hot that day. We spent the day in the pool. The next day, it was 121 degrees. And the kids had just spent all day in the pool, all night in the pool because they wanted to see fireworks. So it was like, go for a night swim. So they were just swimming in the pool at night.
That's pretty cool.
It was really cool. They were looking at fireworks.
There are enough around there that they can see them like from the backyard.
Yeah, they couldn't see them from in the pool, but then we like got them up and I sat my daughter up on this wall, around my parents' yard.
Yeah.
And she sat there and like watched them, and it was really cool. And we set off some fireworks. My dad had a pretty close dumb dad moment, because he'd gotten some fireworks before that really scared the kids.
Uh-huh.
So this year he was like, and he told me,
Are they legal out there? Can they go get them and set them off in their driveways and stuff?
I don't know. He never got any of the ones that were questionable, but people definitely had them. So
Well, yeah, everybody. Yeah.
everybody's got them. I don't know the answer to that, but he got like the snake ones, the ones that you just light them on fire and
Yeah.
just unfurl.
Yeah.
And then he got sparklers. So then he got one that was like, this was like his big one for his little grandchildren, and it was called unicorn poop, and it was just a paper, it was just a cardboard unicorn, and its butt is a snake. So you light it on fire and just snake poop comes out, and it looks like unicorn poop because it changes colors. And it's very charming. It was like, okay, this is funny. Then it started just exploding and shooting out sparks everywhere.
No.
Which was fine. It just scared everybody. My dad was like jumping around because he was like, good Lord. And then he goes, I guess I should have watched the whole video on YouTube.
There it is.
I was like, oh, you stopped watching?
There it is, yeah.
Yeah, once you light it and you see that
it
it comes out. Okay, enough. I don't want to hear you talking about it, telling me about your links. So that wasn't the dumb dad moment. That was just like a little aside. That was funny. But so then the next day, kids are fried. I mean, they went out in the pool for a very short amount of time, and we're just like, we go in. And it wasn't that hot. I mean, it was all that hot. It was the desert.
Yeah.
But then they went inside, and then they were just like, they're not interested in drawing. They're not interested in like reading. They just are like, they're just burnt out. So I was like, my wife and I talk, and we were like, there is a Chuck E. Cheese here. We could just.
You can't beat the summer deal.
We have a summer deal that we bought at Chuck E. Cheese. It's like 2 months for $90.
Yeah,
and you can split it between 2 cards. This is not an ad. It's just a good deal.
Listen, it's like, yeah, it was like $60, something like that.
Yeah.
For the 2 months, and every day they load 100 points on a card to go play, and all their little games to go play are 1 point.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you get 30% off like all your food and stuff.
Yeah.
Not the beers.
Not the beers.
But it's like, it's air conditioned. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, here was the funny thing.
don't waste an hour.
Here's where it was kind of like a dumb dad moment, because
Yeah.
it was like, all right, guys, we're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese. And they were like, okay, yeah. And I was like, drink water. So then we drive out there.
Your lips look like catcher's mitts.
And it's in Palm Desert, which is farther away than India, far away from India. It's like a half-hour drive.
Yeah.
That is slightly hotter.
Huh?
And it was 121 where my parents were. And it was hotter, and you felt it right away. Like I parked under the tiny tree that they had.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this isn't going to do anything for us. You put up the sun, whatever you call it, what's it called?
Like a sun shield.
Sun shield. Put that up, going.
So it's like you can
This
shoot
thing,
a
it doesn't
light
matter.
laser back into space.
Yeah, basically. You're fighting the sun.
Yeah.
This is how it feels. Do you feel it?
How does it feel now?
Oh, light speed. You won't feel it for a while.
You even got probably have sunglasses on.
Cool guy. Always
Cool.
smiling.
Yeah.
So then we go in there. It's just, we replaced screen time for screen time. It really was just like,
yeah, I know.
that's like what it was. We drove a half hour to replace screen time with screen time.
Right.
Except, and we did need to do something because my wife was working. It was a weekday. My dad was working. So it was just my mom and I. She had just gotten home from work, and she was like ready to jump in the pool. And I was like, I don't think they're gonna make it. We want to go to an arcade for just children. And she was like, okay. And we were driving there, and she's like, this is right by my work. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think any of this through. I could have texted you to meet us here. Just kind of driving back to her work now. We get out. It is so hot in this parking lot. Like noticeable. Like get out and go, oof.
Yeah, like your shoes just sticking.
This is worse
than
where we were before. We go in. We're not the only ones who had this idea.
Obviously not.
No, which is,
everyone else's glass is melting in their windows.
And, everyone else is just, now we're all competing with the AC, which is just like, stop adding body heat in here, please. And the reason why this is kind of a dumb dad moment, because I was just like, I don't want them on screens all day. Let me take them somewhere where they can have screens and now have
and
candy.
earn tickets. Candy.
And sodas, because they were just giving out free. That was funny. That was clearly because it was over 120.
Yeah.
122, 3, 4. I don't know.
Just
got to 124 in Palm Springs, which is right down the street. And yeah, I was like, can I also get 2 sodas? And she's like, don't worry about it. Just take them. I was like, okay. Understood.
We are cleaning up in here
very
today.
much. And then they were getting candy. And then the real dumb dad moment of just like, why am I? You're right. It's something to do. But my parents' house was air conditioned and it had screens. But then we get back to the car.
Candy? They got grandchildren. They should have candy.
They have some candy. Yeah. This had Morse candy.
They don't have tickets.
This had Airheads, which is just like, how wood pellets for like a smoker are just compressed sawdust?
Yeah.
Airheads are just compressed sugar. It's this kind of, they're really good. I love an Airhead, but it is, woof.
It's like, it hurts my teeth.
It hurts the teeth.
Yeah.
So the dumb dad moment was doing that and then getting back to the car, which was just like, my car was like, what have you done? I can't believe you left me here.
So you just got in the car?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that.
Well, we did.
No, you got to go. We're going to leave in 20 minutes. I'm going to go start the car.
Well, we didn't. Here's your dumb dad moment.
Oh, man.
We had it running for a bit before we took the sun shield down till it was like, all right, it feels cool. The AC is going now. All right, let's now drive, because then it gets even cooler when you're actually moving.
Right.
And we're driving, and I'm just pumping this thing, and it's weird when you're in such a hot space that
an oven.
You can feel the AC is cold. It's
Uh-huh.
definitely cold. I don't feel any better.
Yeah.
You're like, I feel cold air, but I'm very warm everywhere, and it doesn't feel good for a half an hour. And then we got there, and the whole reason we went there was to help my, slightly. They weren't. I'm obviously exaggerating. They weren't dehydrated. If anybody's like, are they okay? They were fine, but they were just beaten up from the sun.
Yeah.
But I mean, then I remember just opening the door, and they were just like, I opened the door, and they're just sweaty brows, and I was like, whatever I did for you at Chuck E. Cheese, I've completely just undone.
Yeah. By making you go on that car ride.
Just crush the rest of the way.
No amount of Chuck E. Cheese fun can make up for that. Having to sit in the car like that. That's tough.
I bet they sold that particular Chuck E. Cheese.
Uh-huh.
I'm willing to bet sold 0 pizzas that day. Talking about something nobody's in the mood for. Anything hot.
Hot food when it's hot is just a huge pass.
Yeah.
Even eating, actually. When it's that hot, it's like you don't feel like eating or anything. It's just like, this is sucks. I so much would prefer extreme winters. And I've never lived in extreme heat or extreme winters, but I really just don't think.
I lived in both.
I mean, I've been in Palm Springs before when it's like 116. I mean, I went and played golf with my uncle, and it was like 116. And he was like, here's the trick, man. You just take the little cooler that they put on. They had like a little cooler on the side of the golf cart, and they fill it with ice water for you. And it stays, you can refresh it after 9 hours, but it stayed ice water. And he was like, here's your active towel. Here's your ice water towel. And it was like, and then we had like 4 massive ice waters. It was like, just stay as cool as you can. So we'd go playing. It was like 116 degrees outside. It was like so incredibly hot out.
Yeah, it's brutal.
But you would take an ice water towel, stick it in the ice water, take the one, put it around your neck. And then like after about 20 minutes, it was like, maybe. It's like, I got to refresh. And you'd like change them, you know, and like, but still it's work to like not just bake yourself into a crispy nothing.
Yeah, I definitely prefer to be cold. I just hate extreme of either. I guess is my
I
point.
totally agree. I guess I'm saying like if you had to live in one, if it's like Boston or I guess
I have a
what do you say like Chicago winters versus
I haven't lived in Chicago
Palm
winter, which I
Springs
know
or
is the
something like
worst one. But I have like core memories of playing outside in the snow with my brothers in the yard, 2 feet of snow, that whole thing. Just like you're playing for who knows how long.
But you're a kid, so it's like
hours.
the best thing ever.
It's the best thing ever until you go in and your feet and you're scream crying and your mom is running cold water out of the bathtub because that's infinitely warmer than like your toes. And I remember it hurting so bad, like touching that water. That's a core memory. So when you say extreme winter, I'm like, how about neither? How about none of that?
How about, I don't know, pick where it's just in the middle. It's like 75 and sunny skies today, every day for the rest of your, I don't know. Wherever.
San Diego?
Probably on the water. Which you have to have water. Yeah. San Diego on the water. Yeah. That's what we should do. We should just get houses on the water. Like oceanfront property. San
Done.
Diego.
We're done here. Bye, everyone. We're going to
Shut it
San
down.
Diego.
Shut it down. I'm going to move on to my dumb dad moment.
Let's hear it.
Which this week is sponsored by my wife because it's a dumb mom moment.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to be clear, before everybody turns this off in frustration, I've been given clearance by my wife to tell the story.
Okay.
So it's a dumb mom moment that, spoiler alert, turned into a dumb dad moment. So this is brought to you by cleaning up.
Okay.
No, this is brought to you by...
Take your time.
Yeah, it's like, it's brought to you by trying to do a little bit too much.
Okay.
That's what it's really brought to you by. One of the nights this week, not. Actually, no, it might have been, this is like the 3rd, right before the 4th. So we're doing stuff in the evening, getting prepped for the next day. We had a couple people over. That was really funny, by the way. Fireworks illegal in LA.
Yeah.
Like straight up illegal.
Yeah.
Every corner of our yard is like lit up with fireworks going off all over the place. And we had Verdue and his family over.
Yeah.
And we were like, come on over, we'll cook something on the Traeger and then we'll watch an outdoor movie. That'd be fun. We've always wanted to do that. Like good summers here, good weather in California a lot. Be fun to do like backyard movies, right?
Yeah.
So we set it all up, and then as soon as we went out there, like setting up the backyard movie, it's like there's a lot of fireworks going off. Yeah, boom, boom, ba, 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 boom, boom, boom. Like, so we watched Moana, and for like 75% of the movie, it was just like couldn't really hear what was going on, but it looked great.
But I bet it was really cool at the beginning when it says Disney. And you see the
cool.
castle.
Yeah. I also really got to give Disney a shout out how they like updated that old one. Now it's kind of the flyover of the castle.
Yeah.
It just looks really nice.
Okay. I don't think they need it, but sure.
No, I get that. But I just noticed it like in the theater. I was like, man, that looks really stunning.
Sometimes you really turn into a dad, and it's astounding.
Yeah.
Nobody ever gives Disney.
Yeah, that's not really my aim there. But like, not that they need it, but it's like credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what kind of supercomputers they use to render that thing, but that water looks beautiful.
It's nice.
That golden light back there. What movie were we watching? So, yeah, that was just a funny side note. There's just like fireworks going all over the place. Couldn't even hear the movie. We just the adults kind of just looking at each other laughing like... Didn't think this through very much. The night before, it was getting late. I don't remember what we did that day, but it was like one of those nights in the summer where it's like, during the school year, the kids are in bed between 8 and 8:30. This is like 9:15, maybe 9:45 or something like that. And freebies all over the place. Nugget, who we've done in partnership with before. These like... how would you describe it for our audio audience here? The Nugget is like a company that offers like, they're sort of like foam stylish pieces you buy in as a kid. You can make like forts and like all this stuff. Awesome company. My kids love those things. The 2 big panels. They like 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week. They do like a sleepover in each other's room.
Yeah, my daughter sleeps on the floor a lot with them.
Yeah, and they're comfortable to sleep on. I mean, honestly, they are really cool, like big foam pieces that are. So the kids, we alternate like most throughout the week, like dragging into the brother's room, dragging in the sister's room, and they do a little sleepover and they read stories together, and it's fun. They said we want to do that tonight, and it was like, okay. We try not to be like, well, it's late. And it's just like, okay, let's get it done quickly, because all it really is like cleaning up the floor and putting it on the ground. It's not like it's a big deal. It's very easy to do. Easy. So I don't remember whose room was being slept in that night, but they said they wanted to do it. I was like, okay. So my wife's like, all right, well, let me just, before we put that down, we got to do a little bit of cleanup in here. So she does the cleanup in the room and then lays the nugget down and then thinks, well, as long as I'm already kind of cleaning up, I'll go spend a little bit of time cleaning up now that's going to be the vacant room. So she picks up some of the toys and then, I'm like, whatever I'm doing, the dishes or something like that. I don't even know this is going on. I'm thinking like, I'm probably the one in the bathroom waiting with like 2 toothbrushes. Like, I thought we were brushing teeth. Like, I don't know where we are now.
Sure.
Now this is all going on, but I didn't know that they're switching into these rooms or switching into one room. My wife then thinks, well, I bet if I'm already in here, I'm going to run the vacuum. So she gets the vacuum out. And now here's the thing. Here's where her dumb mom kicks in. She's just trying to like do way too much when really it was like already time to go to bed.
Yeah.
So let's just do the teeth and go to bed.
Sometimes you get overwhelmed.
I totally
get that. Room
that.
At the end of the night, you're like, this room.
Yeah, I know. I totally get that. I mean, it's not like I'm blaming her necessarily, but it's like where you go like, give yourself a break. We could do that tomorrow, like all that's fine. So not just being too many mindsets at once. Yeah. She's doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, and then like runs the vacuum, backs the vacuum up so fast into her own foot.
Oh.
She's just in bare feet that she like splits her big toenail like off of her foot.
Yeah, so she was in a bad bed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So if she was splitting her toe.
She wasn't like giggling.
It was, I just mean.
She was already
She was
kind
frustrated
of like,
about the room. That's why she started the vacuum. Because you're frustrated because you're like, how's this room get so messy?
How did they get so quickly?
All the time I ask you to pick it up. And then she's vacuuming aggressively. And then
hurts herself. And so then now it's like, now we're compounding the problem, which is now we have a medical situation in mommy and daddy's bathroom because she's got her toe in the tub and she's just like dripping blood all over the tub. And the kids are like, what happened? Let me see. I want to look. And they see, look, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm sorry, mommy. They're hugging mommy. So we got to figure out like now we're trying to clean it and we put like Neosporin, disinfect it, Neosporin, the whole gauze, the whole thing. And now it's like, all right, can we have a story? Well, it's 10:45.
10:45?
And it was something, we're in the vicinity of 10:30, 10:45 before it was like everything calmed down. It was all done.
Yeah.
In the room, time to go to bed, so like dumb mom moment. And so when I left to come here today, I was like, hey, babe, what's a good dumb dad moment I could tell on the podcast? She's like, well, how about you tell my dumb mom moment? I mean, it's pretty good. And I was like, I can tell the story. She's like, go for it. And I was like, ha, great. That'll be a fun one to tell. And I go out to the car and I text my wife because I was like, something is beeping in the garage. I got to go. Will you take a look at it? And it was when she brought home some ice today because our freezer can't keep up with the amount of ice that all the people in my house are going through at the moment.
Yeah.
She brought home a couple of bags of ice and I replenished the freezer in the kitchen that was just at 0 and then took the extra ice out to the garage freezer and it didn't shut all the way. When I was responsible for shutting all the extra food and stuff out there in the freezer, it didn't shut it all the way. And it's probably like 110 in there. It's 99 outside. Yeah. In your garage, it's like 110. Left the freezer cracked open a little bit, then locked the garage. And then noticed, I think it's, something beeping in the garage, babe.
That's my question. How many items do you have in the garage that would beep?
2.
What's the other one?
Well, both. One's a fridge, one's a freezer. But we're sort of in the same boat you were. We had a garage freezer that we brought over with us.
Yeah.
We had a refrigerator, a nice refrigerator that we had bought a couple years ago that we loved and brought it with us. When we bought this house, it had a new fridge in it.
Mm.
But it was like the bottom drawered aluminum fridge with like the double doors, which is essentially kind of what we had.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know what to do with this. So we just put it in the garage.
Yeah.
So 2 things, but they're both supposed to remain cold with the door shut.
Yeah, they both beep when
Yeah.
you shouldn't do something you did.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That I did. I did it. It was me. So it's like you can't even get away with a dumb bomb and like coming in scot free. Like I was like I was on my way to your house, still had one. Anyway, don't vacuum your feet.
Oh. Yeah.
How about that?
Well, if you guys have any stories like that, please send them along. We'd love to read them. You guys can email us, dumbdadpod@gmail.com, or you can DM us. We are at the Dumb Dads on all social platforms.
We'll be here.
We'll be here. Come see us live, like we talked about at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Nashville, Chicago, St. Louis. Let's go.
Oh man, it's gonna be so
do
much
it.
fun. I'm so
It's gonna be the
excited.
best. Thanks to everybody on SoundCloud for the music of this podcast. And thanks, as always, to my lovely wife, Annie, for editing this podcast. Evan.
Yeah.
Do you have a joke to take us out?
I got a joke. You ready? What do bears call campers when they're in their sleeping bags?
Hold on.
Just think it from the bear's mindset.
I know.
It's the bear's perspective.
Something wrapped. I don't know. What?
You're there.
Something wrapped.
Yeah, pick one.
Bacon wrapped.
Burritos.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the world, little one. Welcome to life.
How do I stop this?
The Dumb Dad Podcast is proudly presented by Bet Online.